What's up, everybody? It's your favorite clown prince of crime's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Play Arts Kai Joker designed by Tetsuya Nomura, the companion piece to the Harley, which I wasn't going to get, especially for the price, but I ended up getting that deal. Shout out to Caleb. So I figured it was worth picking up. I got it for under $100. With that being said, let's get into the accessories, which there are plenty of. And the first one I want to talk about is this, which is sculpted nicely and it's shaded, perhaps a bit heavy on the shading, and it is dry brushed as well. It's supposed to be a scarf, and it's supposed to peg into the back of his head. However, the peg doesn't fit in the hole that's dremeled out for the scarf. So the best thing to do is probably Dremel that out, because otherwise you're just going to be fighting with it the whole time. I'm trying to get a good shot of it, but it's just too small. But then you would have this ratcheting ball hinge here, and then you would be able to swivel it as well. It's a bummer this doesn't work, because I think it would look cool. He comes with two fist hands, left and right, as opposed to the two styled posing hands that he comes equipped with out of the box. He comes with 6 extra heads, which is very nice. We have the red hood head, which has a red pearlescent paint job applied to it, as well as some really nice detailing, all sorts of wiring stuff inside the breakup, all sorts of shading going on, all sorts of silver dry brushing going on around the cracked edges. It looks beautiful. We have the demon bat kind of Joker face, heavy shading with a heavy purple dry brush. It has received a wash as well. The hair is painted green, and then the hair is washed. The eyes are painted white, the teeth painted white, and then the gums are painted red, which actually at times fade into the skin tones itself. We have more of kind of what I would expect with this, which is more of an anime looking kind of Joker styled face. Black lipstick, the face is shaded, dry brush with a peach tone as if the makeup is over top of the skin color. The hair is painted green and then washed, and then we have all sorts of red detailings on the side of his face as if he's crying blood or something like that. We have the old man normal Joker face. He's got the oxygen mask on. That's a translucent piece of plastic with the white parts painted on. The eyes are a bit cross-eyed, which is unfortunate because it is an interesting take on it. The hair is painted gray and then washed with the black. The white neck brace has a wash, it looks like, and perhaps some even airbrush shadows applied to it. And then the skin tone is entirely washed. And then we have more of a traditional Joker face with a heavy, like it looks like a gray paint applied and then a heavy white dry brush applied. This is the one I'll probably use. Red lipstick, the teeth are painted. The hair is painted a dark green and then dry brushed, it looks like, with 2 layers of a lighter shade of green. And then we have this kind of over the top French styled sort of mask. Something out of Cirque du Soleil is what it reminds me of. It's beautiful. The face is actually sitting behind the mask. All sorts of paint detailings, gold trim, all of the little imprints are painted with gold inside. We have purples and reds and greens. Everything seems to be shaded, sculpted, painted, dry brushed, or washed, perhaps even airbrushed at times to the nines. It is absolutely beautiful. It just may be a bit much for me. We then have his back brace mechanical piece. It's all detailed to the nines. We have paint, we have washing, we have dry brushing, and there's a lot of wear and tear. It looks really good. There's tons of articulation points. We will apply it, of course. It swivels here. There's double hinges that are soft ratchets, it feels like there. And then we have soft ratchets here. It swivels as well. It swivels down here. It also is on a soft ratchet here. And then we have all sorts of disc hinges for the armatures, which allow for you to rotate the arms out into position. And then we have on top of that disc hinges at the wrist joints for the armatures that can, you know, move around however you'd like. They swivel at both sides and then have the obvious hinge underneath. We have weathering done to the silver and copper paints inside that look tremendous. Just a ton of work, a ton of articulation, and we'll talk about how it interacts with the figure here in a second. But before we do, we have to talk about the swap out mechanical fingers for the piece. The fingers itself don't articulate. They're just a softer plastic, but you have 2 different ones that are kind of gripping almost, and then one sort of flat-footed one, and they all just peg in. And then lastly, you get a Play Arts Kai stand, which is fine. It's not the best in the world, but it kind of does the job. And it all pegs right into his back. I will say that just moving this simply, this armature here snapped. Like the peg that runs through it just snapped. Like had I paid $250 or whatever this thing was, like I would have been furious. So kind of casualty of doing business. I'm not stressing it, but it is a bummer, so be careful. It's also very difficult to kind of balance the figure on this. The armatures have a tendency to want to collapse and fall to the ground. As you can see, it's not impossible to get it to work, but it is not the most easy to use or user-friendly piece in regards to the operations of it. To transform this thing, you need to just pop these pieces out. I've already loosened them up. And you do the same for this side. This one's the broken one, and it's the armature without the wheels on it. You'll find that you probably need some sort of tool to pry it out, but that's the first step. Okay, so the next part, make sure that your pieces that plug into his back are facing up, and then make sure that the joints for these pieces are facing up. And you want to bring these two pieces around on this last joint here to just about 90 degrees almost. You can leave it up a little bit. And then this piece here is on a slider, right? So we're gonna do the same for this side. The joint tolerances aren't the best, but we're gonna bring both of these together and tab them into one another. And then we bring them down and tab into the sliding part. I'm sorry, you can't see that. These two tabs into there. There. And now that is secured. Now this might get a little touch and go because I got this broken piece, but we're gonna bring this armature up. It's the one without the wheels, and it tabs into this upper section of the armature. And then you just want to have the hand. So this, you just kind of have to keep yourself oriented here. That forms the seat, and then you can have the hand kind of come up behind. Now, this armature here needs to plug in to this one. So you just need to sort of figure out the best way to do it, which is to take this and peg this in to the upper section there, which should theoretically line it up perfectly with the seat. So that's kind of get you started. Let's see what we can do with this other one. I'll probably be fighting with it the entire time because it is broken, but we'll see what we can do. So we're going to take the broken piece and we're going to peg it in. In order to do so, we got to flip this up, and then I'm hoping that the peg here will sustain what is needed. It's just hard. There's so many moving pieces to this that it's hard to stay oriented. There. And then this piece, that just broke on me too. Or it's just glued and it came undone. That's a bummer. $250, folks. So we'll peg that in. We'll peg this one in the back. Did we get this one? We'll peg this one in. All right. And then we'll peg this side piece into here if we can. There. I'll clean up a little bit. All right, so you want to take this, plug that one in, and then this one. These are your two pieces you removed initially. And then you want to plug them in to this side. And it's hard to kind of see exactly what it is that you're doing, but that feels like it to me. All right, so let's finish it off. We need to put this down in the shape of a chair, which is similar to this. This ends up being the footrest, so you spin that around and then swivel it back. Same on this side. Swivel it around and then swivel it back. And then underneath, you want to bring out these wheels. I'm going to tell you right now, they don't feel great. So use and exercise caution. On the back, we're going to do pretty much the same thing. So we're going to flip this around. These don't have as much of a use, so you can kind of do whatever feels best to you. And then we're going to bring down the wheels. And that pretty much does it. I'll of course get it cleaned up and then we'll take a look at it. I think that we might want to leave them up a little bit. but that's pretty much your chair. I'll get it cleaned up. We'll take a closer look at it. And there it is. I don't know. It's fine. I'll probably end up using it. You know, it's not the most elegant. It's just a pain in the balls. It broke on me. I can't promise it won't break on you. So my advice is, if you plan on displaying it this way, it's worth it. But if you don't plan on displaying it this way, you just kind of wanted to check it out, my advice is don't even try. Because I'm not entirely sure it will survive the process. All right, let's talk about the figure. I'm trying to give you guys a variety of faces to look at while we go through it. And this one has some jaw articulation, so I thought that was worth looking at. But the head is on a double ball peg from the head into the neck. And then the neck is on a single ball peg, perhaps. It could be a double, it's hard to tell. Both of which get you the head down to there, up to there, side to side, all the way around. So articulation isn't an issue. It does, however, sit a little tall off the neck. I would imagine that that's mainly to account for some of the more dramatic head sculpts that come in the package. The skin tone does have some nice shading on it. The coat has some nice shading from purple to black. The shoulder pads are black. There is a ab crunch. It could be a double ball peg. I'm not exactly sure. It gets you fair bit over and back. And then the waist is on a giant ball joint. So it's extremely articulated in the torso department. And it's all hidden by this soft vest, which is painted, shaded, and then the green accent is applied. The tie and shirt are painted. The shirt is shaded. So no real issues. The arms work the same way as the Harley, which is to say they peg in at an angle, which I'm not sure is the best way to do business, but is the way Play Arts has been working recently. That gets you at least 90 degrees out to the side, and then up a fair bit as well. The coat is cut at the seams to allow the arm to get up. No bicep swivel proper. You do get a bit of a shoulder swivel, and then you do get the elbow swivel as well, so that accounts for it. The elbow is a disc hinge, which gives you the arm almost the full range, which is nice. We have nice gold cufflinks there, and then we have a ball hinge wrist as opposed to a disc hinge like we had on the Harley, so it's okay. It's just not quite as sturdy. You'll get the in out. You can swivel it around, rotate it back, he says, and get the up down. So all of that works. And the little gold cuffs on the gloves are added. The back is sculpted tremendously, like almost like an alligator type style, and then the tails of the suit are on little hinges here, and that's to allow them to sit. And then the inside of them are painted red and then shaded. The pants are all sculpted. All of the pinstripes are sculpted, and the pinstripes are sculpted on the knees as well. They're also shaded with a black or a darker gray, and then dry brush with a lighter gray. The belt is sculpted, the buckle is sculpted and painted. The belt is also painted. And then the soft floating piece here hides ratcheted universals, which get the legs the full Van Damme and the full Monty for the most part. Limited in the back, but that's okay. Thigh swivel around the universal, which is lovely. And then we have a double jointed knee, which is extremely ugly, but it does work. The unfortunate side of that is that you have to use that double jointed knee to pull off the wheelchair, so the knee joint will always look exposed and always look less than desirable. And the shoes are all sculpted in that same alligator style, which is cool to me. You got disc hinge ankles, so you get the ankle tilt up to there, down to there, and then they swivel. You can rock them around and get a rocker. That won't be an issue. And then the toe has a rocker also if you just need a little bit of additional kind of push in order to get that photo to work or that pose to work. So it's actually a pretty effective figure. You know, it's just it's not the figure's fault that I got some negative things to say about it, because the figure actually works fairly well. There is the Harley and the Joker together, so you can kind of get an idea of how they look, and I chose that head sculpt because I feel like that's the one that kind of complements the Harley the best, both in kind of that anime vibe. I think they look great together. Final thoughts wise, the negatives mainly come down to that monstrosity of a accessory that he comes with. Everything else works fairly well. The accessory is just big, cumbersome. It's not built well. It's not built sturdy. It broke on me. I've heard horror stories of it breaking on others. It's clumsy, it's obnoxious, and it jacks up the price to an unreasonable level for what you're actually getting with this box. But the figure itself works extremely well. It's sculpted well, it's painted beautifully. The added heads are all done perfectly. The sculpt, paint, concepts, etc. It's such a plethora to choose from. It's very thoughtful and very well executed. If this was a $100 or $125 Play Arts figure without the mechanical arm thing, I'd recommend this in a heartbeat. But because of the arm thing and the price point at too much, am I right? Whatever it was, there's no way. It's just not worth it. But if you can get a deal like I did, I suggest you pick it up. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.